So one of the more common questions that we get is, from folks wanting to come to Puerto Rico and purchase property is, okay, can I set it up as my primary residence? I'm going to be there most of the year. And then there's like, sometimes there feels like there's a bit of a wink at the end of that a question, and so it doesn't have to be able to set it up as your primary residence. It has nothing to do with how long you plan to spend on the island. It has everything to do with your income source, and if your income will continue exactly the same for at least the next 3 years with you being physically on the island full time. Right? So they're going to assume if it's your primary residence that that's where you're spending the majority of your time or the whole year, right? So they're not going to ask like how many days. What an underwriter is going to ask for is evidence that your income will continue exactly the same with you being physically present on the island. So if you work at another company and that you can work remotely, for example, that's one scenario that we see that's very common. If you can get it in writing from your employer that you're allowed to work remotely 100% of the time and that they don't care where you live, cool, we can set it up as your primary for sure. And then another way is, a lot of times folks get transferred to the island. If you have a letter saying that you've been transferred, you're from such and such date, your income will continue the same with you being in Puerto Rico. Good to go, no problem. Another way we see it go is for self-employed folks who own their own business. If they have a team and they can manage their business from a distance and their income will remain the same, good to go. We're going to need that in writing to show the underwriters, and it has to make sense, right? It can't be like I had a client who was a truck driver, owned his own trucking company in one specific state, and said that he was going to, come live on the island full time, and then he would, manage his team. But we could see that the majority of his income came from actually physically driving the trucks. So that wasn't able to pass, right? It doesn't make sense. So it needs to make sense. We need to have the documentation, and that's how we can set it up as your primary home. Those are the criteria. So hopefully this is helpful. If you have a question or if you want to know if you could qualify to purchase a primary home in Puerto Rico, let me know. My contact details are there in the description. But thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.